Over the last couple of weeks, some of your favorite celebrities and musicians have been tagging sponsored posts from America's favorite and most trustworthy company, Feeble. Go on Instagram and use the hashtag FeizelPartner, and you'll see paid partnerships with celebrities like Charlie Puth, Pink, Questlove, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Phelps, and Martha Stewart. You know, Feeble, the company that generated $33 billion in 2022, paid for by you, the taxpayer. This company, which saw record profits and zero liability for what happens after they administer their supposed solution, is now paying these celebrities for sponsored posts on their Instagram. An in-feed reel or permanent post that uses a video of a celebrity has to be one of the most expensive partnerships you can do on social. And these celebrities have tens of millions of followers. The price that they are likely paying for these posts could be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. But what you are witnessing is how a cultural icon is willing to sell their soul to secure the bag. Now, I'm no expert and I'm just speculating, but I would be willing to bet that any of these celebrities that receive money as a supposed Feeble partner to make these sponsored posts, encouraging people to get the juice, likely have a clause in their contract that says if they are to speak negatively about that juice at a later time, or the company administering it, that they will owe that money back plus damages, which means they're selling their silence. Now, we're talking about big money here, and these are individuals, but this is exactly how large and often nefarious corporations purchase the silence of the culture. This same exact structure would apply for a large media conglomerate. Let's say a CBS, an ABC, an NBC, an MSNBC, a CNN. Because in the United States, on television, I think it's over 70% of all television advertising revenue is purchased by pharmaceutical companies in the United States. In other countries, pharmaceutical ads are illegal on television. Yet here in America, where we consume the vast majority of opioids and pharmaceutical pills, they're legal, they run rampant, and like I said, over 70% of all television ads are pharmaceutical. So if a company like Feeble, for example, was to say, hey, television station, or hey, large media conglomerate, of which there's only 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 of them, and they own all of these channels. If they say, hey, we're going to do an ad buy on your channels, and it's going to be worth $3 billion. First of all, our ads are going to run in between all of these television networks. But in addition to that, any of the employees of those television networks, the front-facing people, the anchors on the TV, on the news shows, or the main characters in the TV shows, for example, they have to agree to not speak disparagingly about this on their social media or in their private life, or be subject to damages. So then the media company would tell all of those employees in their contracts, you can't do this outside of here or you lose your job. So let's say you have a character like a Jimmy Fallon or a Stephen Colbert, for example. If Feeble is paying the media company top dollar to advertise on all their networks, and one of those employees is Stephen Colbert, we're going to run ads on his shows like we do on all the other shows. But if he says anything bad about it, either on TV or in his private life, and it makes media, the company would be damaged as a result of that. And Colbert and Fallon and all of these people that you see on television, these are all employees. These are not independent people. So in their contract with their media company, the person that signs their checks, it says you cannot speak ill about any person that advertises with us potentially. It would only make sense. So they can't say anything negatively on the actual show, and they can't say anything negatively in real life or on their socials or whatever. They sell their soul to the devil. Because it's not that they just agree, but they would likely be responsible for fiduciary damages. Like Feeble would be able to back out of their contract after their ads already ran, or they might be subject to some damages or legal repercussions. So the media company would have to pay back Feeble, fire their employee, whatever. And the employee could be financially responsible in order to pay back the media company for the damages that it caused to Feeble. All of this stuff could be very easily written into the contract. So by buying these ads and thereby buying the silence of all the anchors on them, they buy the silence of the culture. The same would go for sports and athletes. The NFL could have a deal with the broadcast company that broadcasts all the games. Feeble pays the broadcast company has a deal with NFL, the NFL has a deal with the teams, the team owners have a deal with the players. So the player can't say anything because it'll go against the team can't say anything because it'll go against the NFL can't say anything because it'll go against the broadcast company can't say anything because it'll go against their deal with Feeble. So they can literally make a deal that will silence the players, the teams, the coaches, any and all employees up and down the chain. by just making the top level agreement with the broadcast company. And then all these companies are all intertwined. So if you come at the king, so to speak, there could be other companies that are in that ecosystem that would say, well, we're not going to advertise with you either. For example, a company that's a big investor in feeble. So let's just use a random company, like say an insurance company, a State Farm. State Farm maybe buys a ton of advertisements on the NFL, on all those broadcast companies, and they say, well, if you come at feeble, we're going to get State Farm to take their ads off you as well. You can literally silence the most influential people in public culture by convincing them to secure the bag at some step in the chain. And then the other people that have not secured the bag know that if they just keep their mouths shut about it, that they might be in the running the next time some of those green bucks come flowing in their direction. And then you have talent agencies that are recruiting and scouting for new talent. And they would say, hey, new talent, just so you know, don't say anything bad about X, Y, and Z company. Because 37 of our other artists, musicians, celebrities, pop culture figures, they're all sponsored by them. So we can't represent you. We can't get you deals. Don't you want to be rich? Don't you want to be famous? Don't come at the king. And if you do, you get dropped. So you lose your representation, potential future deals, and everybody just stays silent and zips it to get that cake. Everybody is silenced by the potential of the bag being received or the bag being taken away. Eventually, it gets to a point where it's so obvious that you don't even need anyone to tell you. You just know. Am I going to get radio play on my new single? Or am I going to be able to sell albums? Am I going to be able to sell my book at this bookstore? Am I going to be able to get this publisher to print my book? Am I going to be able to get this talent agency to represent me? Am I going to get any commercial deals? Am I going to get any Nike deal, Gatorade deal? Am I going to get an Allstate commercial? Am I going to get a Subway commercial? And then the investment houses that invest in all of those companies, your BlackRocks, your Vanguards of the world, they have a slice of all those companies. So it's like if you come at the king and you're in the BlackRock ecosystem, for example, it's like, okay, any company associated with BlackRock that BlackRock invests in will never touch you ever. They buy the silence of the culture. Now, this goes top down for any and all businesses. Nobody is left out of this exact same game. Let's say that you're an entrepreneur, for example, and you want to go on Shark Tank. Well, Shark Tank is owned by X company that's displayed on ABC, and feeble, for example, buys ads on ABC. So now your potential entrepreneurial venture that would have made it on Shark Tank doesn't go on Shark Tank. You apply for Shark Tank, they check your social media, they say that, hey man, I don't know about this, you're out. So people that could potentially be tangled up or need this ecosystem will stay silent, again, to secure the bag. Then what if you're a business and you sell your product in Target, Walmart, Amazon, Best Buy, any of these other companies? If Walmart finds out that you're coming at the king and you sell your products in Walmart, all right, well, Walmart's not going to distribute you, or Costco, or any of these other ones. There's no business that's untouched by this. It's only the small independent operator that doesn't really have a lot of influence. And this could play out in unfavorable deals, even with things like financial institutions. They can say, we don't want to sell your product. We don't want to accept credit card payments on your behalf. The entire structure is sold out to the top dollar. This is how they buy the silence of the culture. This is how they convince people to secure the bag, to keep pushing the message. This is how these companies are able to generate so much money and cause so much evil without anybody saying a word.